Hello and welcome back to another episode of SlackerCraft. Alright, this is going to be a fun one. As you can see behind me, we built ourselves a small little sugarcane farm. Typical design. I'm actually going to modify it so it's a little bit skinnier and put another layer in. I'm going to run them back to back so we can get a little bit more sugarcane. The idea is we want to gather paper so that we can make rockets. All right, so that's going to be the plan. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to accomplish a couple of things. The first is we want to explore the nether. Now, unfortunately, we went into the nether a little bit. Got a few resources, but not too much. We ran into the issue that not being able to fly was a problem. And we had a long run back to the base. So we want to avoid that. And so what we're going to do in this video is we are going to venture to the end. So someone else has already killed the dragon on this server. And there's been a few end cities that have been raided. One player in particular has hit up quite a few. But what we're going to do is we are going to venture there ourselves first, and we're going to try to find some end cities and get ourselves an elytra and get a few shulker boxes. Once we are happy that we've kind of gathered those resources ourselves, the other player has offered to give us like a whole stack of shulkers at no cost. So that's going to be nice. That's going to help out with storage down the road. But what I wanted to do is I want to make sure that the first elytra we get and the first shulkers we get, we actually gathered ourselves. And so that's going to be the plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to venture off to the end. I did some work finding another end portal. It's about 1,000 blocks away, I think. Took a while to find. The end portal that has been found and has been opened is about 6,000 blocks away, so that would be a long ways away to run, and we do not have another system set up. That's going to be something we're going to work on down the road. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run off there. I'm going to go into the end, and you're going to get to see a little time lapse of me making some progress in the end. All right, so as you can see in that time lapse, we actually found 3 end cities. Unfortunately, the first one had already been cleared, but then we made some more progress. As you can see in the second one, we got in there. We were able to get some shulkers. There was no elytra, but we lucked out that the third city that we found actually had an elytra. So we have an elytra now. We're gonna have to put some enchantments on it, mending and unbreaking, all that good stuff. What I decided to do in there was I forgot to keep track of coordinates for where we portaled in. So what I decided to do, I didn't want to take a chance, and I was like, well, I'll throw stuff in the ender chest and just jump off. So that was unfortunately what we had to do. Now, in between then and now, these are empty. What I did was I went into the nether a little bit. Kind of flew around, kind of explored, and I came across the bastion. All right. Now it wasn't the full fortress one. I know there's like 3 different types or 4 different types of bastions, I think. This was the one that was basically the housing. So it basically had the one pillar, then there was the one open area with all the gaps, and it had like the nether wart down inside. And so what I did was I basically tore out half of the bastion. Because I think what we're going to do is we're going to mix blackstone in with the sandstone, and that's going to be kind of our palette for our base here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to put a nether portal in the middle and make it look like the blackstone, and that's just kind of bleeding out and kind of like tainting the land around here. And so that's going to be the what we want to do with the base. So as you can see here, we got a bunch of blackstone and basalt. We went and we just really tore into that. Fought a lot of piglins to do it, but we were able to gather all of these resources. Now the cool thing is, we did come across this. We got lucky enough to get a hold of one of these. This is the pig step, which is really cool. And so I was glad that the bastion that we came across had that. So we'll have to make sure we don't lose that. I do know, since we have this, we're going to try to gather some of the other music discs. So we'll have to build a little farm to do that and take care of it. But, you know, we'll get there. So as you can see, we have lots of building supplies. So now what we have is we have an issue. We have our paper started. This is going to be expanded. That way we could grow some more sugarcane to get more paper. And then what's going to happen is we're going to need gunpowder. So we're going to have to build a mob farm. Now I don't want to build a creeper farm just by itself. I'm okay with a general mob farm, because the creepers will give us gunpowder. The spiders will give us string, which is okay. We can make use of that. But we can also trade it in with villagers. And then the zombies will give us the rotted flesh, which we will trade in. And then the skeletons will give us a lot of bone meal, which is going to be useful for a lot of farms. And bone blocks, if we want to use that in our building palette. Because I think what we want to do is I have bone blocks over here. So I think a mixture of all these different things is going to be there. Alright, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to send you to another time lapse. So as you can see, this furnace is built up. This one's built up. And this one is pretty much built up. So these furnaces are almost ready to give me enough experience to fill up my items. One item at a time. So I think that's working pretty well so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you to another time lapse where we are building a mob farm. And so the type of mob farm we're going to do is we're going to have the diamond platforms with the water and observers to kind of flush out the mobs. They kind of fall. For now, they're going to fall on magma blocks. But down the road, once we kill a wither, we have enough skulls to do it. But I don't want to get the beacon yet. What I want to do is down below. I'm going to kill the first one down below. We have the end set up to kill it easily, but I don't want to do that. For the first one, I'm basically going to dig all the way down to basically bedrock, and I'm going to breed up a whole bunch of chickens. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to summon the wither there, and then let it kill the chickens, and that will drop the wither roses. And then we will kill the wither, and then that will be what we want to do to get some wither roses, and then we can start using that in farms so that we can do a wither skeleton farm with them to get more beacons so that we can kind of spread them around. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you to the time lapse now, and I will see you back in a couple minutes. mob farm is now complete. I'm going to apologize. I believe in a time lapse, you will see that basically this part of the structure was built. Um, I did not record this bottom part being built. I made the mistake of setting up the timer before I finished building it. What happened was all of the mobs started flushing down into this area, and it was not completed yet. And so what happened was, as you can see, we have a nice big hole right in the middle of the base. I was going to dig this out anyway, but that is where a creeper dropped right on top of us and just kind of blew that up. Our bed over there was destroyed, and then a couple of chests blew up, and so I actually respawned all the way back at spawn and had to run all the way over here. And it was kind of disappointing. I had quite a few levels built up. I wanted to do some enchanting and combining items and so on, but oh well. So as you can see here, we have the basic structures built. So inside there's the different levels. We have basically some redstone repeaters circling around that are kind of turning on and off the water dispensers. And so the mobs get pushed to the outside, they drop, and then the water pushes all the mobs to the middle and drops them down. Now you'll notice in the middle there, it's a 4x4. It doesn't need to be that large. You could do this with a smaller opening. But I actually know it's 6 by, well, the whole thing is 6x6, but the inside area is 4x4. But I wanted to kind of keep things with an even number, so that basically this is going to identify the middle of the base. And so what we will do is we will kind of dig down and redo a portal there. We're going to do a four-sided portal to kind of line up with this. All right. Now, one thing I want to mention is this is not the final look. Basically what I wanted to do is get the layers built and then get this enclosure built to basically have the farm is running. It goes and it's basically closed in. I have the glass there for now so I can see the mobs dropping. Unfortunately, some of the spiders, some of them will climb back up, but then they eventually drop back down. But what we will be doing is we will be building on top of that structure. So we'll kind of do some layers to come out so it doesn't look like this perfect cylinder. And so we'll distress it and kind of add in some basalt blocks to kind of add in a mixture. But I just kind of mix these blocks in for now. That way, as I'm expanding on this, if it shows through, I don't have to worry about having some ugly like stone blocks being visible that I have to try to cover. All right. I'm going to climb up the scaffolding for now because I only got 4 rockets. I could probably pull some gunpowder to make a few, but I just want to go up to the top just to kind of go in and show you basically the redstone repeaters. So what I can do, this will get covered up so that you don't see this big old white square on here. But as you can see, this is the farm as it is. And then basically I have it at there's 4 or 5 repeaters lit up. So water comes out, water's pulled back. So the amount of time that the water is actually flowing is pretty small to increase the amount of time that is available for the mobs to spawn. All right, and then I can always just pop up one of these dusts to turn off the farm. That way I can set it up so that the water's always on. That way if I can, want to turn off the mob spawning, I can do that. All right, so there we go. So that's kind of our basic mob farm. And so what we're going to do is that's going to allow us to get some rockets, which is going to make flying over to the village much easier. And so I think messing with villagers and then our storage system, because as you can see, we got chests over there, chests over here, random chests over here, and they're all full and they're not organized. And we still have a bunch of barrels back at the starter base that I haven't even moved the items over yet. I've been waiting until I get my shulker boxes to kind of go over there and start carting all that stuff back. And so I think working on this design here, dealing with the storage, is going to be the next big step in messing with the villagers. So that's going to be the plan coming up, is messing with those. And then these farms, for now, the cactus and the bamboo farm are good. They're piping into this. We are producing bamboo whoop, a little bit faster than the cactus. And so I'm thinking what we're going to do is we're going to link this up to some other furnaces to do regular smelting. Now, the bamboo is not going to be the only source of fuel, because that will give us a nice little steady stream to kind of smelt some stuff up. But I'm basically still going to use lava buckets as the main source of fuel for that smelter we're going to build. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take this bamboo and somehow connect it to wherever we decide to put the smelter. And then this bee farm, that's just for breeding. What we're going to do is we're going to actually build a honey farm somewhere and then have that connect into the filter system. So the idea is these farms that we build will connect into the filter system, so I don't have to go over there, empty the farm, drag the items back, put it into the system. Everything is going to pump into it automatically. These items here, they are just being stored here for now. Eventually these will get rerouted into the storage system. And I think the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to basically have the items come up and then come over into the storage system. And so this is I'm going to have to build my structure in such a way when I expand on this to hide that process. All right, I don't want it to be visible. So when people come up and see the base, if they go to certain areas, they'll be able to see what's going on. But if they're just kind of walking through, I want to try to keep all of this kind of farm structure kind of hidden until you decide to actually go look at it. All right. So, what else did I want to say? I had something else. Oh well, I'll just remember it for the next video. So, hopefully you enjoyed this video of us collecting all these different items. Oh, I remember now. Slimes. Oh, so over here, I showed you that I had that slime farm with all those iron golems in a previous video. These two dirt blocks here and here actually mark the two chunks. So that slime farm was actually located there underground. I wanted to mark it here. That way, if I decide to do anything huge as far as digging out this area, I know that that farm is essentially underground there, so I can keep track of it. While I was building this and the sugarcane farm and just general stuff around here, we actually have quite a few slime blocks here. We should have some more somewhere. What happened was I went down, I hadn't checked the farm. We had 6 double chests of slime balls completely filled. So our farm is producing a lot more slime than I think we will ever need. So I think one of the things I'm going to think about in the future is finding a way to basically turn off the slime spawns. All right. Because at some point, we're not going to need the slime. We're not going to need to keep producing that much slime. So at some point, I'm going to figure out a way to kind of use some redstone to basically turn the farm off and on as we go. The same way I could turn this farm off and on, because this farm is going to share the same mob cap with that. And then eventually we're going to do a drowned farm in here somewhere. So these different mob farms, I want to figure out ways that I can easily turn them off and on if I want to kind of use the mob cap in one specific area. But that's a long-term process on where we go. For now, if we happen to have like 8 double chests of slime blocks built up, that's perfectly fine. Because I think we're going to mess with some flying machines at some point. Um, I'm really thinking this sugarcane farm. I haven't done it before, but I really think I want to try a flying machine with this. But I need to look to see if the 1.16 made any big changes to flying machines with this recent update. And then what I'm thinking is if I do that, I might be able to go over top of this and basically have a sugarcane farm that goes from here over to there and have a flying machine that kind of gathers up the items in between here. And that should give us plenty of sugarcane for paper, for books, and paper for maps, and paper for rockets. Now that we have rockets, we are going to do lots of flying around. None of this running business. So our poor horse here, who we tamed, we've used him a couple times to go over to the village to get some books. Unfortunately, you're not going to get used too much, buddy. Maybe we'll make a little racing track for you so that we can just ride around on the horse so we don't forget him. All right, so that is going to be the end of this video. So if you enjoyed it, don't be afraid to subscribe so you can watch another one. Don't be afraid to like the video so that other people can actually see it. If you are watching this, you're probably one of the few who is. Not many people have seen them, so we'll see. All right, thank you. Have a good day and good night.